She slapped you.
900 years of time and space, and I've never been slapped by someone's mother.
Your face.
It hurts!
You're so gay.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. I'm sorry I've not said anything with the Ninth Doctor yet. I don't want you to think that's because I approve of him or his stories. As a Doctor, it's not that he's annoying and showcases the worst of the character, it's that he's not the Doctor. 10 was clearly the Doctor. He was just all the worst parts of the character wrapped up in a spiky hairdo. 9 just isn't the Doctor. He's an unattractive man who wandered into the TARDIS that the show was mistaken for the Doctor. When the casting of Christopher Eccleston was announced, I was downhearted. There is no way in hell that guy could be a good Doctor. Then I remembered his appearance in the League of Gentlemen, where he was aloof, eccentric, and even dressed a little doctorish, and I was hopeful again. Then the first photos of the costume appeared. Whereas Hartnell was the angry Doctor and Pertwee was the suave Doctor, Eccleston was clearly going to be the crap Doctor. As it turns out, I was a little too nice. A crap Doctor would have been a Doctor. The only thing the Ninth Doctor has in common with the other Doctors is skin colour and genitals. And honestly, if he shared neither of those things but was actually recognisably doctorish, I would have been fine with it. As far as I'm concerned, the Doctor should be eccentric, be aware of but not care about the social norms of the time he finds himself in, should be recognisably upper class, and preferably ugly. Ugly because I think the character should have an interesting face, and classically attractive faces are nearly never interesting. Why upper class? Because he's a Time Lord. They were the upper ruling class of his planet, Gallifrey, and portraying the character as anything but makes it look like he's having a laugh slumming it. Like an asshole who hangs around in squats knowing that if shit gets a little too tough, he can run off to daddy's money. Or his comfy time-space machine and leave the people who can't escape to their fate. And yeah, I realise he did that once or twice, but the Doctor being working class is like a rich kid putting on a working class accent. It's appropriating someone else's identity. The Doctor isn't exactly rich, but he's extremely privileged. Why should he not care about social norms? Because the Doctor is essentially an intergalactic Victorian adventurer. His ways are not the ways of the people he's dazzling with his technology and abilities, and he honestly believes his ways are better, even if it's just subconsciously. A side reason for why I prefer the Doctor to be upper class that has nothing to do with the character himself is the almost total lack of upper class heroes in television today. Until the 70s, the upper class dominated fiction in the UK, but things have pretty much shifted to the opposite, and that's fine. There should be space for both. However, a hero who's been going since the days of upper class heroes shouldn't be forced to become working class just because of the changing times. The guy is pretty timeless. What's going on in broader culture really shouldn't affect him that much. Lastly, about this, it's not like the Ninth Doctor was a reboot. It's the same character. I know some people will say it's supposed to be a reaction to the Time War, and yeah, that's the reason given by the writers. But that would mean that the Doctor's post-traumatic stress disorder shows itself by having him cut his hair, look like a model from The Gap, and pretend to be from Manchester. And no, I'm not buying it. All of these things I would have been fine with in smaller doses. If Eccleston had affected an upper-class accent, or had a costume that said he didn't give a shit what time period he was in, then I would have been a lot more fine with him. The Third Doctor blended in during the 70s, to a certain extent, and the 10th Doctor was still working class-ish. But both of those guys are definitely the Doctor, as much as I dislike one of them. Now, why has it taken me this long to get to Eccleston? Simple, almost all of Eccleston's really bad episodes are multi-parters, and I want to space out my reviews of multi-parters because I go into a severe amount of detail and it takes fucking ages. However, it's just not fair to pick on 10 or 11 again, so I'm bringing this review forward a bit. This is the first multi-parter in New Who. It was one of the first episode films, and boy is it a stinker. And yes, that's possibly a joke based on the shit that goes on later in the story. Now, this is not all Russell T Davies' fault. He might have written this story in the script, but from what I've read, the director rewrote the script and added a lot of extra juvenile comedy. And no, he didn't work on New Who again. On top of that crap, they were working out how to produce the show, working out what worked and what didn't, the right tone, and these were 2 of the first 3 episodes of New Who ever made. Basically, there was a lot of experimentation going on in this story, so bear that in mind while I whine about it. Anyway, we open with recaps back to Rose, the pilot. There to jog the memory of the audience because 3 episodes beforehand is a long time in drama. This is the best footage all episode, and that's just sad. They arrive back in Rose's council estate. It never ceases to amaze me how New Who manages to make these places look so happy and fake. And I'm not sure if I'm impressed or not. Anyway, because of drama, she's been gone for a full year. And I'm fairly sure they used that shot before. Now, most people who saw Rose swan into their house would immediately cry or maybe try to throw her out a window, but Jackie Tyler's strong and just breaks a cup. It's not a massive deal, but it takes the doctor about half as long to get to Rose's flat that it took her. And they were both running all the way there. And she knows where she's going.
You've been gone a whole year. Sorry.
Yes, apologise, leaving her back after only 365 days. It's fucking inhuman. Her mum just got used to a home without the evil blonde poster child for postnatal abortion, and then BAM! She's back and life is ruined again. Post-credits, a kid is spray painting the TARDIS, and that later became a plot thing. Though weirdly, it wasn't when the script was first written. Near the end of the first season, they went back and inserted other bad wolves into other episodes to reverse engineer what Russell T Davies thinks a story arc is. Rose became a god by absorbing the time vortex and sent the bad wolf messages back through time so she could absorb the time vortex in an event that had nothing to do with any of the bad wolf messages so she could send the messages back through time to herself. It takes talent to create a predestination paradox where one of the things doesn't actually cause the other. Anyway, the police are involved. Possibly the most sensible thing in a Russell T Davies script that I've yet reviewed.
Employed Rose as my companion.
When you say companion, is this a sexual relationship?
No.
Oh, Doctor, you shouldn't have used the word employed.
Then what is it? Because you waltz in here all charm and smiles, and the next thing I know she vanishes off the face of the earth.
I took exception to that, Jackie. He's neither charming nor smiley. So after having her daughter taken away for a year, getting the police involved and assaulting the doctor, Jackie then lets Rose hang out on the roof with him. Yeah, legally she couldn't stop them, but she couldn't legally punch him either. To properly illustrate my point, this is the scene right before the bit on the roof.
Do you know what terrifies me is that you still can't say? What happened to you, Rose? What can be so bad that you can't tell me, sweetheart? Where were you?
She's having visions of sex slavery soundtracked by this. This is not a woman who'd be okay with having her daughter on the roof with the guy she ran off with. So there's laughing. And we've our first major continuity fuck-up of the show.
When you say 900 years,
That's my age.
you're 900 years old.
Yeah.
The last time the Doctor was 900 years old, he was blonde, had a perm, dressed like someone who was vomited on by Care Bears, and was literally twice the man he is today. Anyway, the scene's interrupted by something incredibly bad CGI. Yep, a spaceship. It crashes, taking out the Elizabeth Tower because spaceships are magnetically drawn to famous landmarks. So, Rose and the Doctor being unable to get close to the action and being forced to watch a massive alien event happen via TV is a good idea. A very good idea. They could have done a lot with this. Alas, it's all overshadowed by the fact that Jackie Tyler is now so okay with the Doctor that she allows him into her house. And you know, this could have been avoided. The TARDIS has a TV. Back in Hartnell's era, he actually checked what time period he was in by finding a broadcast of the Beatles. Though that followed them seeing Abraham Lincoln, so maybe they were watching the actual Beatles and not a recording. But still, the idea that the TARDIS can't receive analogue television signals is silly. And it would be analogue because the UK didn't transfer 100% over to digital till years later. So there's no reason the Doctor should be in this room right now, taking in all the awkwardness that should be happening right now. If Russell could remember the drama he just set up minutes earlier. Oh, and a bunch of people we've never seen before cram into the living room to watch, thus indicating that only the Tylers have a fucking TV. If this was set in the 50s or the 60s, I could see it, but not now. Shouldn't these people be curious about Rose, or have you totally and completely fucking dropped that major event now that a couple of minutes have passed? Stupid question, of course they have. Okay, why is Blue Peter talking about spaceships? That show was not done live. Oh, why the fuck am I asking? It was a show they made earlier.
We still don't know whether it's alive or dead. Whitehall is denying everything. But the body has been brought here, Albion Hospital, with the roads closed off. It's the closest to the river.
So the government is denying everything, and yet you somehow know where the alien body from the spaceship has been taken. And you're telling everyone what building it's in, and letting everyone know exactly where that building is. Why do I see that guy having an accident when driving home tonight? Inside the hospital, the alien's being looked after by Tosh Sato from the spin-off series Torchwood. Now, when they made Torchwood, they made Tosh here part of the main cast. Alas, someone forgot that Tosh was a doctor in this, and so they made her a computer expert on that show. Later on in Torchwood, they even explained that she was filling in for Dr. Owen Harper, who was supposed to be going undercover looking after the alien, but had a hangover. So how does this Asian woman called Tosh Sato go undercover as a white male doctor called Owen Harper? By not even bothering to change her name. Honestly, even though she has exactly no medical skills, I wouldn't be surprised if she was a better doctor than Owen. At least she never raped anyone. And she probably isn't even drunk. I'm feeling generous. Here's a theory to fix this. In this timeline, Tosh is a doctor, but when the 10th Doctor later on goes back in time and annoys Queen Victoria in the not great, but not really bad enough to review episode with the werewolf, and creates Torchwood, the timeline is altered. The creation of Torchwood meant for some reason that Tosh went into electronics rather than medicine. But since the 9th Doctor had met Dr. Sato, the universe had to compensate, and the hangover/cover insanity was created to fix the paradox. You're welcome, now on with the terribleness. Meanwhile, over in 10 Downing Street, the Prime Minister has gone missing and the Cabinet is trapped outside London due to gridlock, meaning that this guy...
Hold on. Pardon me. Nervous stomach.
...is the acting Prime Minister. Now, I'm fairly sure that they have some sort of a system set up to allow someone outside London to be Prime Minister. Maybe I'm crazy, but I would have thought if you have a weird law saying the Prime Minister has to be someone in London, which is bullshit, but what the fuck, then at least you'd have access to a helicopter. Yeah, stuff might be grounded, but when countries ground their aircraft, they don't usually ground all of their aircraft. Acting Prime Minister, this makes no fucking sense, meets up with Margaret Blaine from MI5 and this guy. And they decide to meet in utter secrecy. Utter secrecy in 10 Downing Street. Good luck.
Sir? The emergency protocols, detailing the actions to be taken by the government of Great Britain in the event of an alien incursion.
Russell, it's not called Great Britain, it's called the United Kingdom. Great Britain is not a political entity, it's just the bigger of the two islands. But maybe I'm just being nitpicky. It could be the guy who's being an idiot. Or he could just be flustered, and of course there is this I could be complaining about. Yes, laugh so loudly that people all over the building will be able to hear you. Laugh, full of fiendish glee before making sure there aren't any open communication channels or shit like that. Now, you'd think that if someone would be instrumental in making the Doctor leave the house, it'd be Jackie, because in her eyes he kidnapped her daughter for a year. But no. The Doctor just felt like going for a wander because humans are shit to hang around with.
I'm off on a wander, that's all.
Right, there's a spaceship on the Thames and you're just wondering.
Nothing to do with me. It's not an invasion. That was a genuine crash landing. Angle of descent, colour of smoke, everything. It was perfect.
Rose is worried that the Doctor is going to run off and leave her. So maybe she had an ounce of self-realisation and figured out exactly how fucking awful she is. Now, this actually happens later on, but I'm talking about how fucking awful Rose is. She runs into Mickey. He's the long-term boyfriend she pretty much left literally in the gutter the second the Doctor offered her the chance to travel in time. The man she treats like shit for years on end. Mickey has spent the last year being blamed for Rose's disappearance, has been questioned by the police and become a pariah in his own community, and she doesn't even bother coming to see him. Oh no, she waits for him to come and see her. Seriously? Fuck this woman. Well, no, don't. Well, you can, I won't. Anyway, right before Mickey goes to see Rose, he finds out that she's back because he sees the Doctor going back into the TARDIS. Meaning he had to run into the fucking wall like a character playing comic relief in a terrible fucking movie made in the 30s. So, back in Downing Street, Harriet Jones, MP for Unfunny Recurring Jokes, gets into the cabinet room, now the obvious incompetent villains have finished laughing, and reads the emergency protocols. They apparently just left them in an unlocked briefcase in an unlocked room that no one was watching. This fits with their general theme of being fucking stupid though, so it's forgiven. Over in the hospital, Tosh is still the only doctor on duty, which explains why she managed to misdiagnose the still living alien as a dead alien. So this happens. This is why you make sure your dead aliens are dead before you stick them in the fucking morgue. So the Doctor, who got himself captured by soldiers in a very cute scene, takes the sound of her screams as an order declaring him to be their superior officer. And to everyone's shock, they buy it. They go from sticking a gun in the guy's face to taking his orders in 0.004 seconds.
I swear it was dead.
Coma, shock, hibernation, anything. What does it look like?
He's still here.
Great. You think he's gonna go to a better hospital? You know what? I'm going home.
Might as well say it now, the alien is a surgically altered pig in a spacesuit, thus making this the second worst altered pig thing in New Who's first 3 years. And it's a pig, how did it kick down the morgue door? Before Russell T Davies was inventing aliens with random animal heads, he was having fictional characters in the show inventing aliens with random animal heads. At least if this was done in season 4, he could have claimed to be spoofing his earlier episodes a bit. But as it is, it's like he took this idea and repackaged it over and over and over again, always removing the most interesting part. That the space pig was a fake alien. So the obvious villains created the space pig. I'm not sure why they felt the need to take an Earth animal and alter it for the fake spaceship crash, which technically wasn't a fake spaceship because it managed to fly in space before crashing down to Earth, but I'm not even going to bother with that. My point is, they could have taken a random animal from whatever fucking planet they are from and used it. The humans would not be able to tell the difference between a piece of alien livestock and an intelligent alien. Well, maybe they could, but not for a while. Back with the government, and I use the term loosely, a general has come in to yell at the 3 idiots for shit like not airlifting the cabinet in. Apparently that was going to happen, but they cancelled it. I'm not sure how they have the authority to do that. If the person who's been given power briefly has the power to stop the person who should actually be given that power from getting to the place where they can be given that power, then all you have is a system that's very easy to turn into a coup. Everything at this point just devolves further into a lot of farting and laughing. It's like the episode had a very quick lobotomy in front of our eyes.
Oh, there I go.
I'm shaking my booty.
Sir, under Section 5 of the emergency protocols, it is my duty to relieve you of command. And by God, I'll put this country under martial law if I have to.
Oh, I'm scared. I mean, that's hair-raising. I mean, literally. Look.
The 3 morons are Slitheen, tall, idiotic green aliens who have skinned fat, prominent British people and, using a wonderful piece of sci-fi technology that doesn't make much sense, have shrunk themselves just enough to wear their skin as a suit, somehow keeping the exact shape of the person's body, and using the same voice, and keeping the human eyes. And of course, somehow managing to operate the damn thing with the crazy blue light being inside the body with them. And how the fuck does no one notice the fact that these assholes have zips across their foreheads? If you want to have secret zips on your skin, there are better places than that. The farting is a gas exchange inside the skin. I have no idea what that means in the context of the story. I'm guessing Russell just wanted farting aliens. Also, where the fuck is that sound coming from? Inside the skin? Skin is not soundproofed. And why has no one outside seen the light, heard the sound, and assumed that someone's having a light cycle race in there? Over at the estate, the Doctor's come back and Jackie's found out that he's an alien. Mickey's rightly pissed off at the Doctor, and the Doctor's being angry and dismissive at Mickey.
Oh, that's just what I need. Don't you dare make this place domestic.
You ruined my life, Doctor. They thought she was dead. I was a murder suspect because of you.
You see what I mean? Domestic.
I bet you don't even remember my name.
Ricky.
It's Mickey.
No, it's Ricky.
I think I know my own name.
You think you know your own name? How stupid are you?
Now, I don't for a second think this was the intention, but the only black character in the main cast is the guy Rose dumped. He was assumed to be her murderer, and now the Doctor's shitting on him. The guy was nearly tarred and feathered by a bunch of scared idiots because of something he didn't do involving a white woman. I'm amazed sometimes at the subtext that writers don't spot in their own work. This whole thing has unfortunate implications written all over it. So Jackie got freaked out over the TARDIS, which is a little bit understandable, but why she decided not to grab her daughter out of there before she ran off and reported the Doctor as an invading alien, I do not get. What does she think's going to happen? At best, the area would be stormed and he'd be arrested by the government, and then what happens to Rose? She's an accomplice to an alien invasion. She probably wouldn't see her for a year. At least. But that might be why she ran off to report the doctor. The good times must come again. Anyway, the alien reporting hotline apparently employs people to listen to people's messages and type words that are connected to the doctor, in order to warn UNIT that he's around. UNIT is the United Nations Intelligence Task Force who we last saw in my reviews back in Planet of the Dead barely killing some space manta rays. How do I know there's people listening in and they don't just have some technology listening for keywords? Simple. We can hear someone typing the words into the computer. Unless their audio recognition software is connected to a typewriter, that's not happening. Is that really necessary? Couldn't you have left one of those computers for actually doing work on? Back in the TARDIS, the episode tries really hard to drop the Mickey came close to being jailed thing like they did with the Jackie thing, but no, he actually has a long-term memory. So Rose needs to bring out the big guns. Her massive eyes. And she mentions this.
It's only been a few days for me. I don't know, it's hard to tell inside this thing, but I swear it's just a few days since I left you.
Like that makes a fucking difference. This whole fucking episode should be her and the doctor apologizing over and over and over again to Mickey, Jackie, and, I don't know, the kid who was spray painting the TARDIS. And you know, the episode would have been better. So the doctor reveals that the spaceship came from Earth in the first place, that it was launched, went round the planet once, and then crashed. Okay, fine. Why didn't anyone spot it? Over in the government, the general's been, I'm guessing, eaten, and his skin's being worn by one of the Slitheen. Now, prepare yourself for the best bit of the episode that wasn't recycled directly from Rose.
I quite enjoyed being Oliver. He had a wife, a mistress, and a young farmer. God, I was busy.
There are so many ways you can interpret that. Russell, I applaud you. That is masterful getting crap past the radar. But maybe they should find a better place to hide his skin. What's next? The missing Prime Minister is going to be found in a cupboard? Oh, fuck. Don't touch that Harriet Jones. You don't know who that's been.
Sir, we've had a priority alarm. It's Code 9 confirmed, Code 9.
Right, good. Code 9, huh? Which would mean...
Well, in the event of the emergency protocols being activated, we've got software which automatically searches all communications for key words. And one of those words is doctor.
Oh, I suppose they did hook their voice recognition software to a typewriter for some reason. At least I now know what type of stupid was on display. So the Doctor, Rose and Mickey watch TV in the TARDIS. Because one thing I'm right about is TV in the fucking TARDIS. And they spot UNIT finally arriving, ready to get their asses handed to them because there's no one called the Brigadier there to give them orders. So they decide to drive to the investigations because if they took the TARDIS, the next couple of events couldn't happen. And the stealth dramatic military team that knew full well that the TARDIS can dematerialize waits until they leave it to become noticeable.
Take me to your leader.
I've always wanted to say that.
What I want to know is how Mickey manages to escape when there's soldiers, an APC, helicopters and half the British Army between him and freedom. Oh. By hiding beside some bins. Man, those are some good soldiers. So the military are escorting the Doctor and Rose straight to Downing Street because...
They're gathering experts in alien knowledge. And who's the biggest expert of the lot?
David Icke.
Apart from him.
Eric von Däniken.
Apart from him.
Rael.
Apart from him.
Oh, don't you just love it?
Oh, I'm telling you, Lloyd George. Oh, he used to drink me under the table. Who's the Prime Minister now?
How should I know? I missed a year.
Inside, the Doctor gets led into the meeting with the other alien experts and Rose sneaks past the guards with Harriet Jones. Well, sneak is a very strong word. They walk right past them. When they were freed from a government guy telling them that they didn't have clearance to go past. Geniuses? Everywhere. All over the fucking screen. In the meeting, the Doctor has suddenly lost the ability to read at a hyperfast rate. It's understandable. It's not like he can really be expected to have the same abilities that he had during Rose. The same writer of that episode and the same director of that episode would forget about that seeing as it was all of 3 episodes ago and was filmed at the same fucking time as this. You could argue that the Doctor is trying not to be noticed, but he immediately tries to take over the meeting because he's the Doctor. So bang goes that theory. Hey, it's time for an idiot to find the Prime Minister's body. He's been missing for about a day, and no one at any point looked in a fucking cupboard. It's in an important room. Wouldn't important stuff be kept in there? Aliens of London, where the biggest alien is competence.
Cannot just wander... Oh my god.
I am really bad at my job. So the Doctor has put it all together, partly because the cliffhanger is approaching like something that'll arrive in a couple of minutes' time. The Slitheen faked an alien crash landing to get the world's alien experts together in one place to kill them all. It's certainly a novel plan and far from the worst I've ever seen in New Who. At the same time, another Slitheen has arrived to kill Jackie for reasons of she's a main character.
This man is classified as trouble, which means that anyone associated with him is trouble. And that's my job. Eliminating trouble.
Okay, even with a fucking cap on, that would have been noticed by someone. I know zip body mods exist, but on the forehead? In a high-up police officer?
Excuse me, do you mind not farting while I'm saving the world?
Would you rather silent but deadly?
I'm not gonna comment on that. The fact that those lines exist make me feel dumber by proxy. Anyway, the Slitheen reveal their terrible secret, that they are in fact not brilliant special effects. It takes them so fucking long to take off their human suits that frankly, these people could be easily defeated if only someone was smart enough to run the fuck away or shoot them while they were getting undressed. Literally, the only good thing about the Slitheen is the way that their eyes blink. Margaret Blaine kills the well-meaning but crap guy, and the police guy's gonna kill Jackie, when both of them could just use guns. But I suppose eating the victims means there's no evidence or something. And immediately after showing themselves off to the experts, the Slitheen electrocute them all via their ID cards.
They'll help to identify the bodies.
So, aliens in the big room that's got a fuckload of soldiers nearby, why did you show yourself off to the people that you were going to kill? It's noisy and bright, and there are soldiers on the lookout for aliens. This is like Carpathia shooting the guys at the end of Left Behind all over again, except these guys don't have fucking magic. And, you know, part of me is sad that they didn't ask Caroline John, who played Liz Shaw, to have a cameo here. She didn't appear in television Who after the 70s, except for a vision of her that turned up in the 5 Doctors. So it would have at least been a definite ending for her. They could have had her and the Doctor sharing a few words before the meeting began. This could have been poignant. Oh well, cliffhanger. This episode is fucking terrible. There are 1001 issues with it. It sets up and drops drama at random. Their version of the UK government is really stupid. And I hope that was made up for the show, because if it was that stupid in real life, the country would need the Doctor just to stop invasions of sheep and stuff. There's a lot of uncomfortable subtext with Mickey, and I know it wasn't intended, but once you see it, you kind of can't unsee it. He might as well have Fetch it as a middle name. And say what I will about the Tylers, I really like Camille Cowdery. I remember seeing her in Nuns on the Run and thought she'd make a great companion, so in a weird way I'm glad she's part of the early years of New Who. Even though Jackie is written to be abrasive, argumentative and selfish, she's still better than Rose. Because unlike Rose, we're not meant to worship the ground she stands on. Jackie is unapologetically a selfish bitch. So is Rose, but the show never ever acknowledges that.